Hello. Let me just make sure that I am live here before we get started. And we are. So very good. Good afternoon, everyone. Carol Buckalew with Inky Stampers. Thanks so much for joining today. Boy, I'll tell you, no matter how much I try to get the camera view straight, it always looks cockeyed. Hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. I have a fun sneak peek for all of you today. Hey, Mary, thanks so much for joining. And I actually used a couple of the new products, which are going to be available on May 2nd for customer orders. So that is super exciting. Thank you very much, Mary. I'll tell you, the paper on this suite kind of does all of the work. It is gorgeous. And if you're a blue lover, you are definitely going to want to get this suite. Just absolutely gorgeous. Let me share the products with you. Set my card aside here. So I used the Countryside Corners bundle and the dies. And the Countryside Corners is one large stamp set. It is this stamp set right here. And then the dies are these octagons in various shapes. And if you use odd size octagons, right, you can stamp the image and cut out whatever portion of this image you want to cut out. But if you used odd size octagons, you can cut frames out as well, which is pretty cool. And then in the very center here of the dies, we've got a very slender sentiment label. And then, hi Faith, thanks so much for joining. Oh, this is a beautiful suite. And then the next largest is also a sentiment label or a rectangle, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to use it for. This is going to be, I think, a very versatile die set. I really do. I also used on my, well, let's stick with the Countryside Suite. So the Countryside Suite also comes with, hey Ann, thanks so much for joining, really appreciate it. Ann has a Facebook page. Ann teaches China painting. And if you would like to follow Ann and see what she's up to, she broadcasts every Wednesday morning. And Ann, I totally was involved in something else and I missed your live this morning. My apologies. But if you'd like to drop your info in the chat, feel free to do so. Ann does wonderful work, really beautiful. But anyway, the Countryside Suite also comes with the Countryside Inn 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. The colors in this paper are Balmy Blue, Boho Blue, Misty Moonlight, and Night of Navy. Now, Night of Navy and Balmy Blue are already in our color collection. Boho Blue is a new in color, and Misty Moonlight is a returning color. And I think everybody's like super happy about these two colors, the one coming back. But, look, so I had a hard time with this card. Not designing it, not putting it together, deciding on which paper I would use because it's also beautiful. So this is the paper from the Countryside Inn. Hey, Linda, thanks so much for joining. This is the gorgeous paper in the Countryside Inn Designer Series paper pack. This one has little bunnies and flowers. The reverse side is a pretty stripe. It looks like wallpaper, or this would be all of these papers would make beautiful fabric prints as well. And then we have just kind of a floral, and then the reverse side is a Night of Navy, very subtle kind of flower print, very pretty. Oh, great, Ian, thanks so much for sharing that. And then we have this one, kind of a trellis pattern in the background, if you can catch that. And then we've got some birds sitting on branches and some more flowers. And then on the reverse, we've got a Night of Navy stripe. This one is just jaw-dropping. These flowers, and Anne, you might appreciate this, these flowers remind me of the German Dresden style of painting, kind of these stylized flowers. And I'm a big fan of German Dresden, but just gorgeous, just beautiful. And then on the reverse, we've got another stripe, a little lighter in color there. And then on this paper, hopefully you can see the little foxes. Yeah, that shows up good. These sweet little foxes and some more flowers. And the reverse is a polka dot. And then we've got a floral kind of leaf print. And the reverse on this is, these are little flowers, kind of maybe hard to see. I'll try to, yeah, you can kind of see them there. But just kind of an all over. At first glance, it looks like a stripe, but it's actually little flowers. So just, I really wanted to share that paper with you. Just absolutely gorgeous. Let me put these things out of the way. So that is the Countryside Corner collection, or suite. And if you like blues and you like those feminine kind of prints, you definitely want to get that collection. Absolutely gorgeous. I also use, so the Countryside Corners bundle does not come with any sentiments. It just has the one large stamp. So I also pulled in the Timeless Arrangements bundle, and this has some wonderful sentiments in it. And it's also got some little flowery kind of sprigs down here, and maybe a little background design that you could stamp as well. And my friend Mary from Stamps and Lingers reminded me about these dies that come with the Timeless Arrangements bundle are amazing. What they've done here is we have 3 different size sentiment labels, and these dies, Mary pointed this out the other day, these dies cut a little X in the center of each side of the rectangle, which I think is super sweet. And then you can cut some singular kind of flowers here. You can die cut the outline of the stamp flowers, but check these dies out. And I used this one in particular. So you'll see that it's got the florals with the bar. This is designed, let me get one of these labels off. So let's say you're die cutting your label. This is designed for you to die cut, and that little bar serves to help anchor your flowers behind your sentiment label. And I think that's really ingenious, super cool. Definitely will be handy, and I've done that on my card today. So let's get on to the card. Get these things out of the way. And as always, I have pre-die cut my pieces, pre-cut my pieces. I am using today a top fold card base in Night of Navy. So this card base measures 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and it is scored at 5 1/2 in the middle. These are my inside panels. Actually, let me grab that one panel, because we're going to do a little bit of stamping. And then for my card front, I selected, and this is what took me so long, selecting one of the pattern papers from the Countryside Corners or the Countryside Inn designer series paper, because I couldn't decide. I love them all. They're gorgeous. So I will be making lots of cards definitely with these papers. Hey, Rosie, no worries. Your bike held you hostage. You're exercising. Good for you. Good job. You can be late any day. So let me just, now what did I do here? What did I do? I had a piece of white cardstock, and it has disappeared on me. Let me find my piece of white cardstock. Okay, let me grab another piece of white cardstock. Bear with me here just a second. I always chop my full sheets of cardstock in half and then in half again. So I always have card-sized pieces ready to go. But for some reason I lost my my scrap piece of cardstock. So I just wanted to show you, this is the single stamp in the Countryside Corners stamp set. Just the one large stamp. You will need to put this stamp, unless you have a Stampin-US, which has gone away, unfortunately, sadly. You can use the Stampin-US if you have it, or you'll need the largest size block that Stampin' upsells, and this is a block F. So that's what I have this mounted on. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this in Boho Blue. So new color here, and it is really pretty. It reminds me very much, and appropriate for this stamp set, of a country blue, or a Williamsburg blue, as it used to be known. I'm dating myself, probably. And I'm just going to come straight down here and hold that for a beat just to get a nice ink impression. And there we go. And let me close my ink up so I don't get it all over everything. So you have the option. I put my dies away, and I shouldn't have. Let me grab my dies back again. So you have the option of cutting any sections out on this particular image, or not at all, you know, just cut frames or whatever. Wedgwood blue, yes, Rosie, another name for it. I chose the second to largest octagon for my card today. And, you know, when I die cut, we don't have a magnetic plate right now, but when I die cut, I'm just looking for an equal distance all around that die. And these are little scraps of Post-it tape. I like to use Post-it tape when I'm die cutting, just so things don't shift on me. But the Post-it tape, you know, you can get pretty much from any office supply store. I buy the 1-inch variety. If you tear this off, you know, it's easy to tear in half, and, you know, and use the pieces. But basically, that is what I do when I'm die cutting. I just wanted to show you which die I used for this. I actually already did die cut this piece. Put my stamps away, or my dies away, so I don't lose them. But we can go ahead and start assembling our card here. I think I just found my piece of cardstock. No kidding. When I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. It probably was right under my nose. That's okay, we'll save it. And I'll save that other one that I stamped on. I'll just turn it over. I can use it for future projects. It's no big deal. Just want to make sure that that one is the one that I need for my card. So let me grab our card base here. And all of the measurements for this card are going to be on my blog tomorrow morning. Hey, Amy, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate it. We have a sneak peek today of the Countryside Corners bundle. I am just going to adhere my designer series paper onto my card front. But like I was saying, all the dimensions for this card will be on my blog tomorrow. So you can go ahead and check that out. And this card was designed for the Happy Inkin' Thursday blog hop. We have a sketch challenge for tomorrow, and that's what this card was designed for. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a second piece of the designer series paper. This is the Night of Navy floral print, and this is going to go from the very top edge of the fold on my card down to the bottom. I will have a little bit of excess that I will trim off here in just a minute. go ahead and get some glue on this. And I'm going to line this up onto my grid paper just to kind of help me center that. And I haven't pressed that down yet, but I'm going to pick that up and make sure that that edge is, and it's shifted just slightly. Just make sure that that edge is indeed at the top of the fold on my card. I'm going to press this edge down, and I'm going to open up my card and grab my snips and go ahead and just trim off that little bit of excess flush with the bottom of my card base without cutting my card base. That would be helpful. And so that is the front of our card. The Stampin' die cut octagon is going to get adhered to the card front using Stampin' dimensionals. And I cut my Stampin' dimensionals in half. Some people like that. Some people hate it. You can do you, whatever your preference is. I like the half dimensionals. At first I was using whole dimensionals, but there's a couple of reasons that I like the half dimensionals. One is that it kind of conserves the dimensionals, right? Because we tend to use a lot of them in our card making. And secondly, the smaller size tends to fit well into odd spaces. And so that's real handy. And I just want to make sure that I'm getting enough dimensionals to support my card so that it's, you know, not bowing in. And I think that should be good. I always like to give them a press down. And we'll go ahead and get these dimensional covers off and get this adhered to our card front. So we are having just exceptional weather here in the Mid-Atlantic. It is currently 77 degrees at my house, and it's actually kind of on the warm side. I'm grateful we don't have humidity yet. Grateful for that. But yeah, it's just really a lovely day. Our poor younger dog, she, poor thing. Now, I better stop talking and just get this straight. Give me just 1 minute to get this straight. I think that's pretty good. All right, we're going to go with that. There we go. I can't talk and do this at the same time. But our youngest dog, so last summer, she had a little to do with a carpenter bee. Those are the real large bees, and they like to hover around your face and like look at you while they're flying. And warm in New Jersey too at your house, yeah. 50s next week, it figures. The heat will eventually arrive and stay, and then we'll be complaining that it's too hot. So I guess we just need to appreciate what we have right now. But anyway, so the youngest dog, you know, had this kind of encounter with one of these carpenter bees last summer. Well, now she is deathly afraid of them. I mean, like we can't, you have to walk her down into the yard to get her to go do her business. She's so afraid. All right. So I showed you the dies from the Countryside Corners die set. And this is in the Night of Navy, this is the smallest octagon in that die set. And then this is the largest of the two labels in the die set. And I am going to go ahead and get my sentiments stamped up, both for the front and inside of my card. And I have this sentiment that says, "You're my everything." This is kind of a romance card. And I'm going to ink this up in Night of Navy. Oh, Mary, it is so pathetic. She hides under the deck furniture or under your legs. You know what? I jammed that down. I jammed that stamp down too hard. Let me just clean that up and try again, because I don't want an ink smudge. And I'm just making sure that's kind of dry. I don't want my ink to run either. Let's try that again. See, this is what happens when you try to talk and craft at the same time. So I'm just gently tapping that onto my ink pad and get this lined up as best I can and straight down. And we'll hold it here for just a second. And the older dog, she chases those bees. And I really wish she wouldn't. I'm going to keep that ink open for just a second. And let me find the inside here of my card. I'm done with that stamp. Just make sure I'm not getting the wrong size panel. All right, we're good. So those two go together. And I'm going to grab my boho blue ink. And the inside sentiment, grab the right one. So this particular sentiment says, just can't enough. And there is a space in between those two rows of letters. I am going to stamp this first sentiment in boho blue ink. Let me line my card up so that I can somewhat get it straight. Okay, I have a little dot of ink there. You know what? Let's try that again. Let's try that again. Challenged here today. Don't know why. And I'll line that up again. It's still kind of, well, we'll give it a try. Hopefully we get a nice image. I'll take it. That's the boho. I'm done with that. We can close that one up. And this is the Night of Navy. And in between this stamp sentiment, just can't enough, I'm going to stamp Love You in Night of Navy. And I may need to bring this down to me just a tad closer. And try to get it centered. Hold our breath here and see if that works. Finn hates bugs. Yeah. There we go. Okay. I'll take it. It's not perfect, but I can fix that with a marker. But I will take it. Can go ahead and get this glued up. And, oops, you know what I forgot? I did have a little more stamping I wanted to do. Let's get the boho blue back out. Such a pretty color. And I have, for my original card, I stamped a different flower on the inside. This time I'm going with kind of this leaf sprig. And just stamp this here. That's the wrong side. Let's do the right side. Good grief. Let's just stamp this here a couple of times. Down in the corner, and maybe one more time. Oh, and it can be quite involved. This is an easy card. You should see some of the cards my team members make. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and, since that was the reverse of the cardstock, I've got just a little bit of an edge there. My cutting blade is getting dull. And we'll go ahead and get some glue on our inside panel. And get this glued up to the boho blue mat. Give it a nice press. And I will go ahead and get this adhered to the inside of the card. Just give that a nice press. Make sure it's not going to shift on me. That glue does give you just a little bit of wiggle room. And I'll go ahead and get my sentiment label adhered to its mat. You know what the worst is for dogs is, my grandmother lived out in the country and there were always toads around. And the toads, if the dogs went sniffing around the toads would spray them in the face and it would make them get sick, you know, sick to their stomach. Fortunately, we don't have toads around here. I'm grateful for that. Whoops. So that is our sentiment label. What I'm going to do next is I needed my sentiment label. You know what? Let me put the little flowers. So these are the dies that I was showing you, and I've already forgotten the name of the stamp set. These are the two cutouts from the dies from Timeless Arrangements, and I was telling you about that little bar. Let me slide this over and show you exactly how that works. So that little bar will get glued just, you know, below on the back side of the label. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this up. Let me see here. I need it on the front side. Just put a little bit of glue here on that die cut. And I want it over kind of towards the right side of my label and not showing. There we go. And then this little guy, let me use my tweezers. I'm going to put just a little bit of glue here on the front side. And he is going to go right over here. Whoops. My tweezers got stuck. I don't want to tear my die cut. And just like that. And then I kind of need this done so that I can use just a little bit of Stampin' Seal. I am going to be putting a ribbon on my card. So I need the Stampin' Seal right about there. Let me just get a little bit on there. And I think that will be good enough. And then I have a length of balmy blue and white variegated ribbon. This is beautiful ribbon. And by the way, this ribbon, you can actually color this ribbon with your Stampin' Blend markers if you want. And I'm just going to kind of hold the ends here of this ribbon, and I want it right about there. There we go. And then our sentiment label is going to go right over top of that ribbon, right about there. And so I want to put just a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals here on the left side of that sentiment label, and 2 should be sufficient. And then for the rest of the label, I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue. Don't really need a lot, but just to hold that sentiment label in place. And I just got my hands in glue. And let's get this put down. And this label is getting pushed to the left edge of the card base, just like that. Well, you know what I did? Guess what I did? I didn't take the dimensional covers off. That's all right. I'm going to just kind of bend that back. It's helpful if you take the dimensional covers off, Carol. There we go. All right, let's try this again. And that glue is giving me a little bit of wiggle room. Let me make sure this is straight. That looks good to me. Okay, here we go. So you can see how pretty of a card this suite makes. I mean, just beautiful. Very sweet, very charming kind of feel about this suite. And for my envelope, for my original envelope, I didn't stamp on the front, but I think I'm going to go ahead and grab my boho blue ink and ink this up quickly. Just to let you know right now, the last chance product sale is on. You can grab products that are retiring or being unbundled, like for stamp sets and dies, or being unbundled. But you can save up to 60% off on items in the last chance sale product, and that will go through May 1st. I will tell you, if there is anything on your list that you want that may be retiring, grab it. Things are selling out. I haven't looked at the inventory list, actually. I should have looked at it today for you. I didn't. But you can, you know, on my blog posts, I have been posting the retirement lists. So you can check those out. And then I have links that will take you to my online store. And you can check out the products in that last chance products list. And the new catalog is available for customer orders on May 2nd. And so some of the products here today that I'm showing you are from the new catalog. And there's some really great stuff in there. I have been featuring things all week. I hope you enjoy those kind of sneak peeks. But some really lovely things coming. And I know you guys are going to be excited about that. So May 2nd, get your list ready. For my customers, if you've been a customer of mine within the last 12 months, catalogs are going out in the mail to you today. So hopefully you'll have those lickety split. And so I think we are done here. Let me cap my glue. So this is today's card. And this was unstamped. I didn't stamp the front of my envelope when I made this card originally. But again, this card will be on my blog tomorrow with all of the measurements, and it will be the Happy Inkin' Thursday blog hop. I will have links on my blog for the hop, so be sure to hop around to all the other blogs for some additional inspiration. And thank you for the reminder, Mary. Yes, once I can order all of the papers, which will be on May 2nd, I'll be getting information out soon. I will be doing a paper share of all the new papers that are in the new catalog. So be sure to watch for information on that. I may not get the info out on my blog until next week. I'll try to get it sooner, but kind of have a lot going on this week. But please, you know, keep a lookout for that on my blog. And that is it for today. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the sneak peek. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next Wednesday, hopefully. Take care. Bye-bye.